It's so amazing seeing the one and only Ashika on my podcast. Yay. It's so amazing to have you here on 2022, second edition, second episode, to this most fabulous, Fit Inspired Mama podcast. And the reason I have you here today, honestly speaking, one is you inspire me and to a lot of other women out there. So, why not have someone that not just inspires me, but inspires everyone else that's outside? And two, also, I love talking to you when it just comes with anything to do with mindset, mindfulness, anything to do with life. You have such a beautiful way of looking at things. And I was like, hey, you know what? Ashika would be the best to talk about this. And one reason I called you here today is because we really resonated when it came to New Year's about being more mindful about living the moment. Mm-hmm. And I felt like as if when I had messaged you a couple of times and saying, oh my God, I feel like I'm going through chaos. I don't know what's happening to me. My kids are with me all day. I can't get to any of my work. I can't get through anything. Oh my God, help me. And when we had talked about being in the moment and you resonated with the fact that we just need to be here right now and everything else that needs to come along will come along at its own time, you knew what I was talking about. So when I asked you about being more mindful, being more here, attending your mind to where you are right now, what do you feel comes up to you?
Oh my God, first of all, I think I feel nervous. I'm a big fan of yours. So to be asked, back as a guest, it's an honor. It's an honor. And I always enjoy being here with you. It's just having awareness of my surroundings, what's around me, like understanding that, I've got warm blood running through my body, right? I'm able to give myself a hug. Like I'm able to be present with myself, and anything around me that's happening in the moment is what's real. What's in the future, forget about it. What's in the past, it's not in front of us anymore. That's the most important.
I feel you, and I totally agree with you. And ever since I have started to live just the moment, like when I talk about just a moment, we talk a little bit about breathing and hearing your own breath, right? Mm-hmm. This is where you are. Are you thinking about what happened yesterday? Or are you thinking about what happened and you got into a fight with someone, or something happened, you fell and you broke your knee? I don't know, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Today is a whole brand new day. How are we going to start the day today in order to make it the best day ever? Do you feel that sometimes when you feel like you're just thinking of the today, we have goals and ambitions and things that we want to do for the future. They're going to be there. It doesn't mean that we're thinking about the future. We're just thinking about how we want to put things together. We schedule things, we put things together for the next day. But when I talk about being in the moment, either with your family, your friends, your colleagues, your kids, everyone that's going to be there with you, how does it look? How does it feel, other than just, like, how would you explain it to someone and say, oh my God, this feels like beautiful.
you know what it feels like? I can't describe it as a feeling, but your memories are more vivid when you think back, right? Because you are present. A lot of times people are present, or even if they're speaking to somebody, they're already like either 2 days ahead or 3 conversations ahead. So when you are present in the moment with your kids, with your partner, with your friends, your family, your clients, whoever is in front of you, you actually get to hear that person speak. You're actually able to communicate rather than just being ready to respond, like ready to just respond. And when you are in the future and you think back, you're going to be able to recall it very clearly, Because sometimes if you think, imagine, we have these moments where we can be in front of somebody, have a full conversation, have things happen around us, and 2 or 3 days later have zero memory, or maybe have 1 second of a memory, right? So what it feels like to be present is when you think back to that day, you'll be able to recall a lot more because you were there and you experienced it.
So, it's so funny that you say that, because there's those days where, as a mom, we're rushing through the whole day, or let's just say we're cleaning up our home, right? Or we're cleaning. So while we're cleaning, we get a lot of the junks out of the way. We start to organize our home. We, put the things away that we need to put in, especially the kids' stuff that we have. And then it's time for us to remember where we put certain things.
Mm. Yes, right. And
but now we're looking for that. But it's because maybe we were not really focused on what we are doing and where we were putting everything, that we cannot remember where we put it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And one of the things when you did mention a couple of minutes ago about breath, like actually the process of breathing and allowing oxygen into your body, into your blood, to your brain. A lot of times where we are just functioning, just mindlessly, I would say, right? When we're functioning mindlessly, start becoming aware of how you're breathing, because your breathing will change. And a lot of us actually hold our breath and we take very shallow breaths. So when we take very shallow breaths, there's less oxygen going to our lungs, to our brain. So if we're holding our breath and we're going, 100 miles an hour, we're not going to remember, because our function of our brain also decreases as well, right? And especially, when we put something in place, we again are not aware, we just drop it, and we just get used to functioning like that day in and day out. And then you hear the quote unquote mommy brain phrase.
Yeah.
Right? There's no such thing.
No, it really, it really isn't. I think the phase mommy brain, or any kind of brain, or baby brain, that they usually put out there, is because we just have so much going on with ourselves. We have so much happening. Our babies are crying. They need to be fed. The dishes need to be done. We need to cook. We need to clean. And everything is all there, so much into our head, that we don't know where to start. And so we're just occupying our day to try to get everything done, every single thing done, that by the time we are done and we're finally relaxed, we're so tired, we're exhausted. We don't have time for ourselves. We have no time for anything that's around us, that we're just at this midst of time just wanting to sleep, or not do anything, or watch TV, or scroll on your phone and your iPhone, or whatever it is, I see that a lot with mothers, and I see that a lot with moms that have young kids, especially because they're always rushing through life. They're always rushing, trying to get things done, trying to get that done, making sure dinner is ready, lunch is ready, breakfast is ready. And it's not just moms. It's like, I used to be like that too. And I think a lot of women have been like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, what are some strategies that we can use in our daily life, that we can do, especially as moms, if we can put together in like 4 or 5 different blocks that we can work on, so we can get our days more easily done, and we're more in the moment than thinking about the past. You're really good at stuff like that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you some things I wish someone had told me.
Yeah.
When I was a mom of a newborn baby and a toddler. Okay. First of all, there's no such thing as a perfect mom.
Thank you.
Can we just, that has to be like above all, number one. And we want things to be perfect in the house. We want, we think that our partner wants us to be, looking perfect, and our kids have to be dressed perfect. I mean, we've all done it. It's like, I have just one child. So I had, the first child syndrome, right?
You never
So
got to have that second
yeah,
child to figure out, oh, the first one is taken care of. Second, oh, well, who cares, right? Yeah, okay.
yeah, that's right. The third one just raises itself. I don't know. I'm not speaking from experience. You'd be better to tell me than, anybody else. But the first and foremost is that there's no such thing as a perfect mom. And you know what? If your friends look like they have it together, good for them. To each their own. There's no perfection. Work on taking care of yourself so you can be a better mother. I think we always go into that perfect mom and how to take care of our children the perfect way, but we forget that if we don't take care of ourselves, we're going to be tired. Like you said, all we want to do is sleep. We spend the entire day cooking, laundry, dishes. And by the end of the day, if you think about it, you don't even remember spending any quality time with your child.
Right.
Right. So letting go of that perfection in however way that you best suits you. I mean, your IG handle and your Facebook private groups and all of that. That's perfect. There's so much resources out there. That's number two, is look for resources and ask for help.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have to do it alone. We somehow take it upon ourselves because we've watched our mothers do it. We've watched their mother's mother do it. It's been like generations of super woman syndrome, right? And you don't have to do it alone. So if that was another number two, is ask for help, because then you can perhaps rest, and laundry and all of that stuff that can be done later. And if have an open when it comes to asking for help, have that open communication with someone at home, whether if it's your partner or a caregiver that you have helping you communicate that how you are feeling and the fact that you need help. I think that's huge. And sometimes even that affects a mother's um, milk production as well, right? So just be mindful of that, because I think that was a huge stress that I went through as well. So that's number two. Number three, I would say, is um, number three is looking at your schedule. Okay. And now I know, like, every mom listening who's a new mom, they're going to be like, what schedule?
Yeah.
Like, there's no schedule. There's no schedule. I get up and I go, and then my head hits the pillow and then I'm done. Right. So when I say schedule, wake up in the morning and take a minute or two and look at and go through what is the most important thing on that day for you. So this also requires you to be present, right? And I'm not saying this is going to come out like in a snap of a finger. This is going to take practice doing it, right? I remember when when my son was younger, the first thing I got up was, I'm like, oh my God, I have to do X. I have to do A, B, C, D, E. Like, I had list of things to do. And then I had to constantly remind myself that no, take those things off the list, put it aside, and just focus, whether it's on your child or whether, a lot of times, I mean, some moms nowadays, you see that they've got a side hustle too. So they're new moms, they've got a side hustle happening. They are working on themselves and trying to eat healthier. So there's lots of other factors nowadays as well. So create space to have fun, because at the end of the day, your child is not going to remember how dirty the kitchen was and that the laundry wasn't done.
Mhm.
Right? When your business starts to grow, you're not going to remember, oh my God, I didn't clean the kitchen. Right? You're going to remember that, yes, I took that time, and look at what I've created for my family and for myself now.
Mhm. No, true.
Yeah. And the fourth one is incorporate some type of movement for yourself. Okay. Whether if it's yoga, whether it's walking, jogging outside, whether it's just sitting still and taking 10 deep breaths. Right. And remembering to be present, to bring it back. I know we're going to mention, you're going to hear presence a lot in the recording today, but it is so important. When we leave the present, we lose control of ourselves and what's around us.
Yes, one of the biggest things that I've actually started to do in the way that I do things is I actually go back into my phones and I actually grab a cell phone and I put a timer on there. So let's say it's every 2 hours or every 3 hours, that is. So sometimes we don't realize that we can't be in that moment all the time because we just have so much on our mind. So the alarm goes off and it's just a reminder to stop doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And that reminder stops you. It's like, hold on a second, stop right there and take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And when you take that deep breath, all you need to do now is just think about what's around you. Mm-hmm. The papers that are around you, what's around you. Are your kids around you? Can you hear them? Can you hear whoever is around you? Can you hear your neighbors? What is it that's around you that you can hear? Now feel the gratitude. Feel the gratitude of being around them. Mm-hmm. And around the surroundings that you're in. Can you hear the birds singing? Can you hear the trees? Can you hear the whispers? Whatever they are, just take that moment for you, even if it's 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you can give to yourself. And then go back and do the things that you need to do. But that moment you will see the stress and anxiety that we all get, like that stress that we have of the day-to-day lives that we go through. It just automatically just goes, just kind of calms you down. You don't even feel it anymore. It's just that stress is just kind of like drained out. And then when you start doing your day-to-day things again, you're able to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you mentioned that. And it's even like, what I used to do was even running became so mindless for me because it was just another task to do until I had to sort of bring it back. I remember one day I ran and then I came home and I'm like, what did I just do? Right. Yeah. So I had to go back, and the next day when I went out again, I had to pay attention to every step, like every time my feet hit the ground. I wanted to feel that because I was running without even feeling it, because sometimes when we're running, it's like we've got so many tabs open in our mind as well. It's like, even if we say, okay, do movement, do an activity, that doesn't mean have like 10,000 tabs open and then you're just moving just to get like a tick on the box, right? Then you might as well not do it, because it's actually going to put your body into a fight or flight rather than to have a benefit to you as well. So yeah, definitely.
It is a very mindful thing to do when you're with a mom or with anyone that's around listening to this, right? This could be one of the biggest challenges that anyone can actually have. Either you're at work or you're at home or you're a stay-home mom or you're juggling life. That's the biggest thing ever. And I always feel that the moment I learned to be more mindful and being in the moment, I was able to reduce stress. I was able to be more happier. I was able to get things done. And when you had brought up the scheduling situation, like, oh my God, I schedule. I do. And I think a lot of moms would love that too, if they knew how to do it.
That's right.
That's what it is, right? It's just like we have so much time in our day. Keep this in mind. We all have 24 hours. We all have the same hours. We all wake up, we all go to sleep, but we all have the same hours in the day. It's how you utilize your time is what really makes sense. And that is how, a schedule would work. When you start to schedule, you're able to kind of see, oh, hold on a second. I'm doing something different here. Mm-hmm. What am I really doing from this time to this time? Am I seriously just sitting there and juggling life? Okay, if the dishes are done today, do I have to do laundry today? How about I let laundry go and I can do laundry tomorrow? Or I can get someone to help me with the laundry later on today and I can fold it at this point. So I'm not juggling both things at once. It's how you productively put your things together that gives you the time to be there for yourself. And I've heard a lot of women, and it's just not me, just like a lot of women that say, oh, I don't have time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when it comes to scheduling, a lot of women ask, well, how do I do it? And the first thing I say when I work with moms is, well, what's important to you today?
Yeah.
What are the 3 important things that you need to get done? I always bring it down to 3 because I know moms that have like 15 things on their list to do in one day. Okay. So say, what is I've done it.
I've done it too. I've done it too. And if I don't get it done, I'm so upset. The whole day just goes back. Like, I didn't get it done because of, then I start blaming other people that I didn't get it done because the kids were doing this and then because of this happened and that happened.
Yes.
I needed to get done. Yeah. I was there.
And a lot of times it doesn't, 9 out of 10 times it doesn't get done because the things that we have on our list, we don't have the most immediate ones that are important, right? And we don't even know why we're doing it sometimes. We just do it because it's there. And it's something that we have to do. It gives us sometimes, some moms, and again, like I'm saying this because I've done it, is we want to do things because we want to feel needed. And when we're not needed, we don't know what to do with ourselves.
I kind of feel like as well, it's a very much of a comparison game. Have you kind of felt that too with mothers? We compare ourselves to other women or other moms that we think that have it all together. So if we go to their home and their home is like completely like clean and wow, and it looks so good and decorated and just so beautiful. Then we come home and we're like, oh, why is our home not like that? Well, how do they have time to do all that? And I'm a culprit. I was doing that too until I sat down thinking, do I need all this stuff?
Exactly. The minimalist, right?
I feel like they have it because they like it, they need it, they want it, let them have it. And then when I come home and I'm just like craving to do it too, and I want to do it too. And I look at them like, do I need to have all these things in my life? I think that's where another problem comes around, and it's clutter. It's the more you have, the more you want.
And the more you have to clean.
Yeah.
The more you have to clean. And that's the thing too, is just to like simplify and break it down to what really needs your attention and energy. Right. Yeah. And it is so important. Like the less things you have in your home, not to say, you just have nothing, but just like what I had to do is I literally simplified my schedule to the point of like even, decorating my home. Like if you come into my home, it is simple. You'd be like, well, does anybody live here? No, I live here. So, but I have what I need. My kitchen is come over. Like the kitchen is simple. I have fresh flowers, I have candles, I have like the basics in my home. Because why? Because I want that time to build memories, not to be cleaning every day.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's absolutely true. 90% of my time I am in the kitchen because I'm preparing dinner or I'm preparing something, or my kids are in the kitchen for breakfast or whatever it is, where my heart centered is the kitchen. And a lot of women and a lot of moms are in the same situation, right? So if it's clean, you feel at ease. But if it's not clean, you feel cluttered and messy and exhausted and tired. It's just the way you manage to keep your home is the way that you manage to keep yourself. And I've learned that through a lot. So having less is better than having more. I just love that verse, and it's so beautifully said. But there are so many things that a lot of people want. They want and want and want, and they just don't have place to keep it. And that's what happens to your mind, the way you focus and the way you think. It's all there.
Yeah. And then there's a flip side too there, Nishma, right? I mean, like it sometimes when things are not done in the home, or if someone is quite feeling stressed or down or overwhelmed, and like say the kitchen is, past overdue, that could also be signs of some like mental health or mental well-being concerns as well, right? So it's really good to recognize that, yes, sometimes if these things are not done, they could also be like almost like little cries of help that a mother can't function
Mhm.
well. She could be dealing with postpartum. Like, again, you and I both know it could be years till you can, work through postpartum. It could be, something that she's going through emotional. Maybe she's almost lost herself within everything that's going on, and she's unable to function, to go to the kitchen, unable to do the laundry. So it's so important to pay attention to these little subtle hints,
Absolutely.
that some women can put out. And of course, like another important thing here, we've got movement, but also nutrition.
Huge, huge
Feeding
part of
our
life.
body. Feeding our body, feeding our brain, feeding our gut the nutrients it needs to function well, to be in a good mental state, to have enough energy. Your body goes through such a huge transition, making a human being. Right? Let's not take that for granted. And let's not think that, with 2 seconds we can be back to normal. No, let's appreciate the fact that what has just happened. Right? And let's put those nutrients back into the body, so you can have a favor, like optimal gut bacteria. So your mind can have the nutrients it needs again, to be able to be aware and present. It's really hard to say to somebody, you need to be more present, if they're nutritionally deficient.
Yes.
Right? So this is so important. There's so many little factors. And a lot of times, as new moms, or if you're mom and you've got a side hustle, or you've got a full-time job, or you're working from home, we get so saturated with our schedule that we forget to eat, and then we're cranky, we're exhausted, and then the end of the night, we're reaching for things we wouldn't otherwise reach for. So all of these things, and then we're unable to really show up for the ones that we love, including ourselves.
This where it comes to, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's where you have to remember that as women, we feel like we can do everything on our own. And I was there too, thinking that I don't need any help. I can do this all by myself. I'm going to do it. I don't want anyone else to help me. I was all there. And if I had just asked for that help, I think it would have been a lot easier for me to deal with my emotions and deal with what I was going through.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a huge part of being more mindful, being more at centered, being able to do the things that you want. It all comes back to not just anything, but your nutrition. It comes back to, your exercises, back to asking for help, bringing in the aspect of just getting yourself back there and breathing and taking it easy and taking one step at a time, you know. So all of those combined really does help a mom get back to herself. And it is hard for a lot of mothers just to do all of that, right? Just to get back to them.
Yeah. It
So
took me years. Like it took me years to feel really like my new self again. I can't even say my old self, because I wasn't. I was a mom now. It wasn't, it's got a huge change. To be able to feel like I am back into my body, that I am able to appreciate this life in front of me that I've created, and the power as a woman, and the ability to create anything I want. Right? That's another thing too. Like, if you're a mom and you're thinking that, okay, you're exhausted, that you're incapable of a lot of things, that you're not feeling connected, just think back to the fact that your body just created a human being. You are capable of giving life. That is like the greatest thing you could create. Anything after that?
yeah, no, it's true. I remember when, and if anyone has read my book, they would know, of course, if what I've actually gone through as a mom. Sometimes we don't realize it that we're going through it. We feel like everything is perfectly fine and chimney, not realizing that we are actually not okay. We do know that there's something wrong, but we're not ready to accept that there's something wrong. And we all have that ego, right? Like, nope, I'm fine. I don't need that kind of help. I'm okay. I've got everything. I've got it all sorted out. And that's when you just kind of, when you take that little step back and just say, I need help. Do I need help? Ask yourself that question. Do I need help? Do I need that extra help that I need? Where do I need that help in? And that's where maybe a second voice would come in and say, hey, you probably do need a little bit of help somewhere. So where could we get you that help? How can we get you that help? That's really amazing. So, all these little things that come together and put together, it's amazing. And having you here today has been my biggest joy ever. Ashika, thank you so much for being here. I love your energy. I love the fact that you were able to take your time and come here. If you've not heard, Ashika has been with me on season 1 all the way through. She's been with me twice already, 2 or 3 times already, and this is like her third or
I'm just a
time.
huge fan of you.
So if you want to know a little bit more about Ashika and what she does, Ashika, can you just let us know, just again, in case if there's any new listeners here, about what you do and where you're from? And
yeah, I work closely with health and leadership. So I work privately with clients. I do group coaching. I recently released my first book last year, which has a lot of my recipes in it as well. Oh gosh, I'm a mom
yes.
to a 10-year-old who's going on 16. Again, my purpose is to help inspire as many women as possible to live their best life in their healthiest body, mindset, emotionally, and physically.
That's amazing. I love that about you. I love everything you put together. I love how you help other moms. I will put your Instagram and your face group information in here. Again, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Anyone that's watching this, if this resonated with you in any way, just send us a message. Let us know, hey, that this resonated. What do you feel? How do you feel about the talk? Being a mom is a very difficult job for all of us. We end up doing more for others than we do for ourselves. And it's really, really important to start to love who we are truly inside and give ourselves that credit and show up for who we are. Because honestly speaking, if we don't do that for ourselves, we won't be able to do it for the people that are around us. So love yourself, take care of yourself. That is what our biggest motive is. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy your entire day. Take care. See you next week.